Hello and welcome to the video on how to prepare for your Great Society debate for Tuesday. Watch the following video just to get ready. So as we conclude our study on LBJ's Great Society, we come to one of the great debates in American history, which is the question, can the government effectively regulate the economy? So remember that the economy is a naturally occurring thing. It comes from the relationship between buyers and sellers, or producers and consumers, and in its best shape is when, or it's in its best shape when money is moving between the two groups, right? Moving money means good economy. But when an economic crisis arises, Americans question how the government may help or not help. The two sides of the argument are intervention, that is government regulations on the economy, or laissez-faire, which we've talked about, hands off, which allows the businesses to regulate themselves. There have been several periods in American history when the idea of intervention has been popular. Under the Progressives, the violations of the robber barons were challenged in support of the people. During the Great Depression, FDR's New Deal attempted to drag the nation out of the greatest economic crisis in history. LBJ's Great Society, although not created in turmoil, attempted to tap into the success of the American economy and to spread the wealth to as many Americans as possible. And most recently, under President Bush and President Obama, there have been attempts to increase American prosperity with the auto industry bailout or through Obamacare. In all these cases, the government has made the argument that government regulations can stop the injustices caused by big business, provide relief for those in need, regardless of how they got there. They also argue that it is only the government's responsibility to get money moving by priming the pump when the economy goes sour. That is, to keep money moving through a stagnant economy. And lastly, the most democratic argument is to do as LBJ suggested and spread the wealth for the good of all Americans, not just for the richest ones. Check out this sample of success as an example of positive government intervention. I'm going to let you read that on your own. You can just pause here if you want to read it. However, not all government intervention has been successful. You could read this section here to find out how government intervention has been a failure. Again, I'm not going to read it. You can pause it, read it on your own if you want to. If intervention sometimes failed, then there must also be periods in American history where industries created their own prosperity without the intervention of the government. These include the period of industrialization, which created everything in the world we know today, the Roaring '20s, when the average American could take their chances on the stock market and strike it rich, or the 1950s, when the middle class dominated American culture and allowed everyday workers to enjoy the comforts of wealth. Most recently, under President Reagan, not so recently, when the wealth of the rich was able to fuel a greater standard of living and lower taxes across the board. That is the trickle-down theory mentioned right here. So just as there is an argument for intervention, there is also one for laissez-faire policies as well. Generally, it is argued that Americans can only be equal if each person has the ability to participate in the free market and succeed or fail on their own. It's most suited to democracy. It is the same policy which helped the U.S. to become an economic superpower in global society. In addition, laissez-faire policies allow Americans to sink or swim regardless of their neighbors' faults and drive innovation through healthy competition. Look to the Industrial Revolution for an example of success. Again, I'll let you read that on your own. You can pause it if you need to. Just as you might guess, this policy is not all sunshine and rainbows. It has its drawbacks as well. Again, pause and read on your own. You may remember this from an earlier reading we've done. You can always use that as a resource. So what are we going to debate? In a traditional fishbowl debate, that is the kind we've done in the past, you will argue over the following questions on the side appointed to you by me. You're not choosing for this debate. The questions are as follows. Has America had greater success as a whole with or without government intervention? Is economic success the responsibility of the individual or the government? And how should American society proceed? Intervention or laissez-faire? You'll be given either the position of government intervention is a good thing or government intervention is a bad thing, and it's up to you to figure out the answers to these questions based on that position. For arguing in favor of intervention, consider using the following resources. For against intervention, use these resources. So the assignment here is you will use the questions and resources mentioned before this slide to prepare answers for all three questions based on the position assigned to you by me. You must be able to go into the middle on at least two questions. That is, you may have one question you know you want to answer, which is usually the case, and that is a good thing to do, right? To know which one you want and to be able to get all the points you need just by going into the middle once. But there's a good chance that you will not get in on the one you want, which means you need to prepare yourself to go in on another. Unlike previous debates, not every person in class is going to be able to go into the middle. So we're going to have to do the best we can with what we've got. That being said, always have a couple arguments on the side for all three questions, because every time you speak is a point. And you want to get those points early and hold on to them. Lastly, some points about debate. A good debate, people know their question. That seems to be a problem we have every once in a while. People forget what question they're on. They don't seem to understand what it is they're supposed to argue. Also, they don't understand which side of the argument they're on. You are either in favor of government intervention or you're against it. Your position is being given to you, so make sure that you don't start arguing in favor of the other side and help them out, because you don't get any points for helping out the other side. The best way to make a point is to use facts to support your answers. You can use quotes, you can use statistics, you can use anything you want so long as it's a fact. Keep it professional. Don't attack the position or the opposition personally. That is, don't make fun of someone's hair or how they said something. Only talk about the points they've made. So that being said, a bad debate is when you don't say anything or you attack the person and not the question. You use emotions to support answers like, well, you know, I think food stamps are a good thing because they help people. That's not a good answer. And screaming at other people, definitely not okay. Or most importantly, talking when you're not called on. You need to save your comments for when you're called on. If it doesn't have anything to do with the debate, then it should wait until after. So you now have everything you need to prepare for tomorrow's debate, Tuesday's debate. Be ready to go the minute you enter the room. Do not wait to be told what to do. There won't be a quote. So if you come in, just get your stuff ready. Get ready to go. There is an alternative assignment, but you need to see me as soon as possible. It is only for people in special circumstances or for those who have talked to me previously about doing this debate. Finally, if you want to get this slideshow, you can use the QR code. That'll help you to actually be able to click on the links. Otherwise, if you have any questions, always feel free to email me, and we'll see you tomorrow.